Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for the support and everything on the past 2 weeks. Views are getting up, that's always good, and everything's just going up, which is amazing, and thank you for that. But yeah, today is the start of a long video. Buckle in, because you saw I have no idea how long this is going to take, but I know it's going to be long. Today we are starting the first part of the Creepypasta and r/nosleep, pretty much just online horror iceberg. I'm going to put up a picture of the iceberg here to just see everything that's just here. And then I will have pictures throughout the video of everything, just to say, oh, well, I don't know the story, but I know the face. That happened with a couple of these, and it was really fun to go through, read all these stories, and re-research and refine some of these stories. It was really fun. It's going to be a lot of parts, and then after we're done, I plan on just editing all this BS and stuff out and just putting them all in one video for you to sit down and enjoy, do work, just have it in the background playing, whatever you may do. So with that being said, let's get into the iceberg. Let's go. So our first opponent on the plate, you know him, you love him, everybody knows him. The man of the Slenders himself, Slenderman. At the apex of internet horror stands Slenderman, an iconic figure recognized by his towering, faceless, suited silhouette and elegant tendrils. Often depicted lurking in desolate woodlands, the entity emerged from a Photoshop contest in 2009, quickly transcending its visual origin to become a pervasive symbol on online dread. The true terror associated with Slenderman extends beyond his appearance. It lies with his modus operandi, a psychological tormentor who stalks, manipulates, and ultimately drives his victims to madness, paranoia, or disappearance, often compelling them to act on his behalf. This focus of unseen threats and psychological erosion, coupled with the pervasive feeling of being observed, transforms Slenderman from a mere monster into a manifestation of existential dread. While Slenderman originated as a static image, his legend achieved widespread notoriety through the proliferation of alternate reality games, or ARGs, notably the groundbreaking Marble Hornets, which we'll get into later as well. Marble Hornets web series, conceived by Troy Wagner and Joseph Delegue, adopted a found footage format documenting Jay Maverick's investigation into the unfinished student film of his friend Alex Crayley, which was inexplicably plagued by an entity referred to as the Operator. The series' interpretation of Slenderman. The Operator's abilities included teleportation, memory manipulation, including debilitating coughness, sickness, gradually eroding from the sanity of those exposed to its presence. Marble Hornets holds historical significance of the first web series centered on the Slenderman character, premiering merely 10 days after the initial Slenderman image surfaced on the Something Awful forums. The evolution of Slenderman from a static image to the central figure of complex multi-platform narratives like Marble Hornets demonstrates the collaborative and dynamic nature of internet folklore. The entity's subsequent appearance in other creepypastas, such as Ticci-Toby, further highlights how these narratives cross-pollinate and build upon each other. Created and shared, expanding universe of fear. This Progression from a simple image to a character capable of sustaining intricate multi-platform storytelling illustrates the genre's growth beyond static text. The integration of Slenderman into other narratives solidifies his iconic status and the interconnectedness of the Creepypasta universe, marking him not merely as a character but as a phenomenon that adapts and spreads. Slenderman's just a cool character. You can do so much with him. They had the games as well, where you had to click pages. You had so many crossover stories. You had Jeff the Killer versus Slenderman. You had the Ticci-Toby stories. You had so many different spawns of Slenderman. So many versions. Marble Hornets being the best known one, but so many different versions of everything. And on to the next character. Fun character. The next character, we all love him. The story is abysmal writing. It is probably written by a 12-year-old kid that says, "Ooh, this looks cool." Nobody still knows where the original photo came from. And yeah, let's get into the Jeff the Killer. Another instantly recognizable figure in internet horror is Jeff the Killer, characterized by his stark white skin, permanent craved smile, and wide, unsettling eyes. He has become a quintessential internet psychopath with his chilling catchphrase, "Go to sleep," ingrained in the collective nightmares of countless online users. Jeff's narrative portrays his transformation from an ordinary teenager into a monstrous figure following a series of traumatic events. One early version of his origin post-its that he accidentally spilled acid on his face while cleaning a bathtub. However, the more widely circulated account details a brutal encounter with bullies during which he is dosed in alcohol instead of blaze. The horrific disfigurement compounded by his brother Lou's self-sacrifice by taking the blame for Jeff's violent actions shatters his sanity. Consequently, Jeff inflicts further mutilation on himself, carving his infamous smile and removing his eyelids before committing the ultimate act of terror, murdering his own family. He embarks on a spree as a serial killer, infiltrating homes at night and whispering his iconic line before claiming his victims. 3, 2, 1. The original story was created by DeviantArt user Suser around 2008. Initially as a ritualistic narrative, yet the version featuring the bullied teenager gained widespread traction in 2011. The contradictory origin stories, acid versus bully fire, and a real-world crime directly linked to Jeff the Killer underscore a critical, unsettling aspect of internet horror, its capacity to transcend fiction and influence real-world behavior. This also illustrates how creepypasta lore is not static, it is fluid, community-driven narratives that evolves and is shaped by collective imagination, sometimes with dangerous consequences. The divergence in origins amplifies the unorganic, uncurated nature of creepypasta lore, where popular iterations can absurd original narratives. The documented real-world incident where a perpetrator claimed influence from Jeff the Killer and mimicked his appearance serves as a chilling demonstration of how deeply fictional horror can embed itself in the cultural psyche, highlighting the profound impact of the stories beyond the mere internet and mere entertainment. Also reminds me what I forgot to mention in the Slenderman girls, the two girls that thought it was Slenderman's doing. Two girls brought one of their friends, if you call them that, into a wood cabin. They stabbed her. The girl still lived. Fucking trooper. But yeah, the amount of times people get influenced by these stories, especially young people with mental issues, get pulled into these stories and they're like, oh, I want to be just like them. This stuff is happening. I'm getting bullied, and look what he did to his bullies and whatever with the Jeff the Killer case. It's I don't know what to say about it, but it's like just it's really odd how creepypastas can influence somebody's mind to be like, oh, they're just like me. They're killing people, or their face is bleached off, or, oh, well, I cut my smile. I want to be just like him. And it's just people with mental issues that don't have either the resources to go get them checked and helped, or they don't want help, or not don't want help, but can't get help that they need. The next one, really fun one. It's a really fun read. I will leave all the original creepypasta links in the description below for all these stories and other things. All the links to the original stuff we're going to talk about in this iceberg below. If you want to go check them out for yourself, read them through yourself, because these are just brief overviews and stuff like that. But anyways, let's get to the Russian sleep experiment. So the Russian sleep experiment is one of the first creepypastas I read, and this one's a little bit shorter. Descending into the realm of urban legend that processes a disturbing verisimilitude, the Russian sleep experiment stands as a classic for its ability to tap into deep-seated fears concerning unethical government experimentation and the inherent fragility of the human mind. The narrative, presented as a supposed factual account from the late 1940s, details of Soviet experimenters designed to study the effects of sleep deprivation. 5 political prisoners were confined and sealed in a chamber for 15 days, sustained by an experimental gas-based stimulant. The initial paranoia among the subjects, rapidly escalated into profound madness. Disturbing acts ensued, including subjects tearing their own vocal cords, smearing observation windows with their own bodily fluids, and most horrifyingly, engaging in self-cannibalism. They mutilated their own bodies, removing organs which were consumed and processed by their still functioning digestive systems. Upon the chamber's eventual opening, the surviving subjects were found in a horrifying, disfigured state, desperately pleading for the gas to be reinstated, their only desire being to remain awake. The story's visceral body horror, the psychological torment of extreme sleep deprivation, and the chilling depiction of government's cruelty render it profoundly disturbing. The success of the Russian sleep experiment is rooted not only in graphic body horror, but also in its strategic leveraging, I cannot talk today, of perceived plausibility and societal anxieties related to real-world historical atrocities. The fact that a widely recognized emaciated humanoid image associated with the story is, in fact, a Halloween prop, yet effectively invokes the imagery of starved victims from death camps, demonstrates the power of visual aids in amplifying digital horror, even when fabricated, thus enhancing its believability. The fact making the impossible seem plausible. The effectiveness of the fake image illustrates how the visual representation of horror, even is manufactured, can be profoundly impact and a story's reception and credibility, creating a deeper, more unsettling experience for the audience. The Russian Sleep Experiment is just a fun story to read. It's a really, really fun read, and if you haven't read it already, what are you doing? Read it. Go through, read it. It takes like 30 minutes at most if you take your time. It took me like 20 minutes to read. Like, it's not that long. It's really, really good. And it's really fun, too. But now we're going to go into the fun yellow walls. The walls are yellow. The walls are yellow. As in the Backrooms. Let's hop into the Backrooms, why won't we? The unsettling sensation of entering a seemingly ordinary place that feels subtly off is amplified in a concept of the backrooms. The internet's quintessential liminal space, its inherent terror is not derived from its overheard malevolence, but from the profound implications of its existence. The core premise of the backrooms posits the ability to no-clip out of reality, to inadvertently slip through a wall and find yourself in a endless labyrinth expanse of bland mono-yellow office space characterized by ugly carpets and the incessant hum of fluorescent lights. Crucially, there is no exit. One is perpetually trapped. The horror stems from existential dread, profound isolation, and the terrifying realization that one's disappearance went unnoticed by the outside world. Adding to this perpetual confinement, the presence of others or things, malevolent entities hinted at by disembodied footsteps and gurgling snarls, creates a constant unseen threat within this monotonous void. The backrooms originated from a single unsettling image anonymously posted on 4chan in April 2018, depicting a bland, empty corridor. A month later, on May 2019, so a month and a year later, the same image was reposted on 4chan's paranormal board, accompanied by a brief text explaining the no-clip concept and the infinite unsettling environment. This text served a foundational catalyst leading to the rapid expansions of the mythos. The concept... 17. The concept has since diversified into various camps ranging from orthodox purists who advocate for the original uniform dread to extended lore enthusiasts who induce infinite levels and diverse entities. The continuous evolution marks the backrooms as a living, constantly expanding piece of internet folklore. The backrooms' origin was from a single cursed image, and its subsequent community-driven expansion into a sprawling, multi-layered mythos emphasizes the power of ecophrasic exercise in digital horror. The existence of different interpretative camps, purist versus extended lore, showcases the organic, decentralized nature of internet storytelling, where collective imagination continually reshapes and reinterprets a core concept. This progression demonstrates how a simple visual prompt can blossom into a massive collaborative storytelling endeavor. The different interpretations highlight the desensitized nature of internet lore, where the absence of a single canon allows for constant reimagining and adaptation, thereby fueling its longevity and broad appeal. Off to a whole, pretty much a thing as a whole in the SCP Foundation. So the SCP Foundation represents a monumental undertaking in collaborative storytelling, an expansive fictional universe dedicated to the documentation, containment, and protection of humanity from anomalous, paranormal, and utterly inexplainable phenomena. It functions as a clandestine organization akin to a highly specialized, terrifying X-Files agency operating with vast scope and resources. The Foundation's core mission is encapsulated in its motto: secure, contain, protect. It involves the capture of bizarre entities, objects, and phenomena designated as SCPs, ranging from a statue that induces neck snapping upon absurd movement, SCP-173, to an indefinitely descending staircase inhabited by a faceless entity, SCP-087, or a shy humanoid that relentlessly hunts anyone who glimpses at its face, SCP-096. The horror within the SCP universe is not solely derived from the monstrous nature of the anomalies. It is profoundly amplified by the sheer volume of these threats and the cold, clinical, quasi-scientific reports that describe unspeakable horrors that with chilling detachment. This narrative approach fosters the unsettling idea that the world is under constant siege by incomprehensible forces, with a secret organization employing disposable D-class personnel, often unwriting convict prisoners, to conduct dangerous experiments and maintain a facade of normalcy to the public. The SCP Foundation originated on 4chan's Paranormal Forum on June 2007 with the initial SCP file SCP-173 posted anonymously. It rapidly evolved into a massive wiki-based collaborative writing project where thousands of contributors craft SCP files and Foundation tales. The distinctive quasi-scientific and academic writing style, replete with black redaction bars and data expunged, marking significantly contributes to its appeal, lending a chilling sense of authenticity to the fictional narratives. The SCP Foundation's enduring appeal and massive scale are rooted in its unique quasi-scientific and academic writing style. Its collaborative, open-source nature. This approach creates a meta-narrative where the very act of categorization and containment becomes a form of horror, reflecting a deeper human compulsion to impose order on the implicable, even when confronted with overwhelming cosmic dread. This is not merely a collection of monsters, it is a commentary on knowledge, control, and the human attempt to rationalize the irrational. The collaborative aspect ensures a continuously expanding universe, providing an endless source of new fears. The scientific framing of the anomalies feel more tangible and consequently more terrifying, as if these reports are genuine attempts to comprehend phenomena beyond human understanding. Just the basic rundown of what the SCP Foundation is. I think the SCP Foundation is probably one of the more interesting collaborative writings that I know a decent amount of, and I've seen a lot. If there's any other not so big as SCP, but really, really cool collaborative, community-driven horror pages, let me know. I'm willing to check them out. Maybe add them into the iceberg, maybe further down for you to feel with how many people in the community and stuff like that. Any ideas with that would be helpful and amazing. I read all the comments. I try to respond to every comment I can. Pretty much, I respond to all the comments, or at least like them. If I don't have a direct response to them, but I love the comments. Keep them coming. Our next one, our fun time at Laughing Jack. The back-to-back Jack. Laughing Jack venturing deeper in narrative encounters. Laughing Jack, an entity embodying the antithesis of childhood innocence. An imaginary friend twisted into a grotesque, malevolent clown, his appearance all black and white with a swirly cone nose and a perpetual, terrifying smile is matched by his sadistic nature. The story unfolds through the experiences from a young boy, James, and his single mother. James claims to have a new imaginary friend, Laughing Jack. Initially dismissed, soon proceeds a series of escalating horrors mysterious candy appears, the brutal murder and candy stuffing of their dog Fido, and eventually the unspeakable torture and mutilation of James himself, found nailed to the wall still alive. The mother, armed and monitoring, witnesses Jack's distinctive laugh, lunges in terror, and accidentally kills her own son as Jack vanishes. She subsequently institutionalized, perpetually haunted by the chilling tune of Pop Goes the Weasel outside her window. This narrative profoundly subverts the innocent concept of an imaginary friend, transforming it into a source of extreme horror through child victimization, psychological torment, and graphic body horror. The story's effectiveness in Laughing Jack lies in its subversion of childhood innocence, transforming a comforting concept, an imaginary friend, into a source of an extreme graphic horror. The strategic use of familiar, simple tune, Pop Goes the Weasel, as a recurring leitmotif of dread demonstrates how seemingly benign elements can be twisted to amplify psychological terror. The narrative exploits a fundamental human vulnerability, the innocence of children, and trust placed in childhood concepts. By corrupting the idea of an imaginary friend, it invokes a profound sense of betrayal and helplessness. The musical motif functions as a psychological trigger, embedding the horror deeper into the listener's mind, illustrating the potent impact of simple elements when skillfully deployed. Yes, I think that's a little bit much for like a Laughing Jack. The story is written not so well, but you can get that if you dig hard enough. And I might with this bit, I might be overthinking it, overanalyzing it. But that's what I feel. I feel like I definitely overanalyzed this, but that's what I got out of it, so that's what I'm going to say. That's my piece. And now we're back to another Jack of the eyeless variety. Eyelessjack, a creature designed to invoke visceral fear. He is depicted as a humanoid entity, typically clad in a black hoodie and a dark blue mask, distinguished by his empty black eye sockets, which a black substance drips. His culinary preferences are disturbingly specific. The narrative re-encountered from Mitch's perspective begins with unsettling rustling sounds and a loud thump in his room. He awakens to a mysterious gash on his cheek, only to discover at the hospital that his left kidney has been applicably removed. The following night, he awakens to a horrifying sight of Eyelessjack leaning over him, attempting to disembowel him for his lungs. Mitch narrowly escapes, but his brother Edwin is later found dead, with Mitch's own stolen half-eaten candy discovered beside the body, coated in a black substance. The horror here is intensely visceral, characterized by body mutilation, the violation of personal space, and the presence of an unexplained, seemingly unstoppable threat that literally consumes its victims from within. The story cleverly integrates urban legends of organ theft with a chilling presence of a silent, predatory stalker. Eyelessjack's origins possess an Eyelessjack's origin possesses an ekphrensic element, meaning the narrative was inspired by a specific image. The iconic deception of a blank-faced figure with gaping eye holes was created on DeviantArt in 2009. That's where the story comes from, DeviantArt of all places. Holy, we're in the depths. The story itself was posted on Creepypasta in 2012 by Azelf5000. gaining significant traction throughout YouTube readings. The original creator later removed the story, a pattern observed with the popular creepypastas like Jeff the Killer, yet the legend persists. His appearance also draws parallels with figures such as El Curie and the precise organ-removing methods attributed by Jack the Ripper. Eyelessjack's intrinsic origin, where a chilling image predicated and subsequently inspired the narrative, illustrates a common creative process within digital horror. The story's resilience on body horror and mutilation through the non-consensual removal of organs taps into the deep-seated fears concerning bodily anatomy and vulnerability, rendering the horror viscerally immediate and profound disturbing. The visual first origin demonstrates how powerful images can serve as the seed for the compelling narrative. The specific horror of organ theft is particularly effective because it violates a fundamental sense of self and bodily integrity, making the threat feel deeply personal and horrifyingly intimate. That's probably another one of me overanalyzing the fuck out of Eyelessjack. Eyelessjack is like a 10-minute read. It is not that deep. But you see that a lot, though. You see it with Jeff the Killer, Eyelessjack, and you see it with a couple other stories where they see, ooh, creepy picture. Oh, so let's make this a story. Nah, let's make it horror. It's creepy. Let's make this a horror story and fix it as we go. And that's how a lot of these got started. If you'll realize, the Jacks easily to draw hot anime like type characters, like Slenderman, they can do a lot with, especially artists. Ooh, those questionable sites then, and then 34. Some artists are way too good at drawing some of that shit. Anyways, as mentioned in the first one when we went over Slenderman, Ticci-Toby. Character defined as a tragic past and a descendant to violence. Where have we heard this before? He is a young man afflicted by congenital insensitivity to pain and Tourette syndrome. So he has Tourette's, and he has the condition where you can't feel pain, like your nerves don't work or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's like your nerves don't work, where you can't feel pain. So say you punch your wall. Your average person or majority of people will be like, ow, my knuckles hurt after that, or ow, my shoulder, or whatever. They won't feel it. You see a lot of people like that. They'll bite their lips off or bite holes in their cheeks, or like they'll bite their fingernails off completely because they can't feel, they don't have that sensory where they're like, oh, wait, I should stop. This hurts. Ow. Toby Rogers' story chronicles a profound psychological deterioration. After the death of his sister Lyra in a car accident and enduring an abusive alcoholic father, Toby's mental state rapidly declines. He experiences memory glitches, compulsively chews his hand until they bleed, begins to suffer vivid hallucinations, including visions of his dead sister and a tall, featureless dark figure outside the window. The internal voices intensify, urging him to murder his father. Overwhelmed, Toby enters an idle state, brutally attacks his father with a kitchen knife, and flees into a burning forest armed with hatchets. He's confronted by the tall dark figure, strongly implied to be Slenderman, before his consciousness fades. Weeks later, news reports link him to the brutal murders in the woods, with body never recovered, leaving his ultimate fate chillingly ambiguous. The horror in this narrative is deeply psychological, blurring the lines between reality and delusion. Exacerbated exacerbated by family abuse, elements of body horror, and the preservant supernatural influence of Slenderman himself. Ticci-Toby's story highlights the insertion of psychological horror manifest throughout mental deterioration and hallucinations with supernatural elements, particularly Slenderman's influence. The explicit link to Slenderman's imprint simplifies the growing trend of internet interconnection creepypasta universes, where popular entities cross over, enriching the lore and creating more expansive immersion world of fears for fans. This narrative uses internal psychological breakdown as a primary horror mechanism, which is then externalized, though a well-known supernatural entity. The Slenderman connection is not merely a cameo, it implies a shared reality with these characters, suggesting a larger, more complex web of terror that expands beyond individual stories, thereby strengthening the overall creepypasta mythos. It's always interesting to see when things cross over, and it's amazing. And they're really, really poorly written or halfway poorly written. Like, some of these things are like, this looks so good. You know, like, this looks really, really good. Some of them are just horrible, and you can tell they're written by 12-year-old children. It's a 50-50 shot with creepypastas. Like, you're going to go in later down on the road, or when we get to the r/nosleep stuff, they're written very, very well. But if it's like, oh, I don't know, creepypastas, it's you throw something up and hopefully it hits. It's either going to hit because you're going to think it's funny as hell because it's poorly written, and it's funny because it's written badly, or it's good. It's just a good written story that happens to be on creepypasta.com. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up. But now, the next one I think is fun. Everybody should know this. It's Minecraft World. The world of Minecraft. The whispers of Herobrine are familiar. Unsettling presence, who represents the ultimate urban legend within the gaming sphere. A mysterious player-like character with empty eyes, perpetually lurking within single-player worlds. The narrative recounts a player's experience starting a new Minecraft world, only to glimpse at a figure in a dense fog, a default player skin, Steve, but with empty eyes, no name tag despite the single-player setting. This figure, identified as Herobrine, quickly vanishes. As the player explores, they discover unnatural, seemingly man-made structures, perfectly symmetrical 2x2 tunnels carved into rocks, immaculate sand pyramids rising from the ocean, and groves of trees with their leaves inexplicably removed. The environmental manipulation presence of an unseen, intelligent, malevolent force at play, disrupting the game's natural generation and the player's sense of control. The horror is primarily psychological, stemming from the violation of an expected game mechanics. Herobrine's eerie appearance was profound isolation and the pervasive paranoia of being watched within a world the player believed to be their own. Herobrine does not engage in direct attacks, rather is mere presence, and subtle, unsettling alterations he imposes are inherently threatening. Herobrine's origins are intertwined with cryptic forum posts and a supposed connection to Notch, the creator of Minecraft. The legend claims Notch had a brother who is no longer with us, and that his deceased brother is Herobrine. Notch's brief, somber email response, "I did, but he is no longer with us," adds a layer of tragic mystery and lends a disturbing plausibility to the lore. The deletion of the forum post discussing Herobrine and appearance of ominous messages like stop from the user named Herobrine created a meta-narrative of censorship implying that even discussing his existence carries a real-world danger. Herobrine's horrors thrive on the subversion of familiar, safe digital space, being Minecraft, and blurring the lines between game mechanics and a supernatural presence. The censorship element, where forum posts are deleted and ominous messages appear, creates a meta-narrative that extends the horror beyond the game itself. Implying a real-world danger is merely discussing the entity. This narrative leverages the comfort and familiarity of a popular game, then introduces a violation of manipulation. The censorship element is a brilliant meta-horror device suggesting that the entity's influence extends into the real world and that knowledge of it is actively suppressed, thereby making it the threat feel more pervasive and real. Herobrine is always a fun one. It's a fun whittle weed on creepypasta.com, but also it's just like anybody that grew up on Minecraft videos, they saw like Herobrine videos and they were like, oh my god, Herobrine's in my game. Oh no, my game is done. It's a fun little thing. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Now, like, I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. But yeah. Alright, on to the next one. I think this is really, really good story. Also, because the implications I think this movie might have had, or this story might have had, on a really, really big horror movie, and a very successful one. But I'll get into that later. The next thing on our list would be the Smiling Man. Don't worry, I'm gonna have pictures on everything just to show people what they look like, because some people do off the photos. But the Smiling Man. The unsettling premise of the Smiling Man involves encountering a figure whose smile is not merely wide, but unnaturally so, stretching too far, too long, too wrong. This visual distortion forms the chilling core of the narrative. The version under consideration, The Smiling Man in Black, recounts of the story of a young girl subjected to severe abuse by her grandmother. Following a suicide attempt, the girl awakens to a horrific stench and witnesses a black figure covered in blood. Kneeling over her grandmother's mutilated body, actively consuming her organs, the creature then looks up at the narrator, revealing a pale male-like face with black dilated eye pits and a mouth that slowly stretches to an impossibly wide, glitchy smile. The narrator faints, only then to awaken to her father's explanation that her grandmother had died of a bad heart, implying a cover-up or an alternate reality. However, the narrator later sees the Smiling Man at the funeral appearing more human and chillingly. She chillingly smiles back at him. The horror in this story is a brutal amalgamation of body horror, the profound psychological trauma inflicted by abuse, and the unsettling uncanny valley effect that unnatural expanding smile. The ambiguity surrounding the Smiling Man's true nature, whether he is a demon or a dark avenger who answered the girl's desperate prayers, further enhances his unsettling presence. This specific story implies that the entity appeared as direct response to the narrator's fervent prayers of liberation from her abuse, particularly after the killing of her kitten and her suicide attempt, positioning him as a dark guardian and avenger. His continued presence observing her reinforces the idea of a connection forged throughout profound trauma. The Smiling Man utilizes a grotesque uncanny valley effect on an unnatural wide smile to create immediate visual horror. However, in deeper impact stems from the ambiguous nature of this entity. It is a demon or a dark guardian that's entering a desperate child's prayers. The ambiguity, coupled with the profound psychological trauma of abuse, elevates the story behind simple gore, exploring complex themes of justice, vengeance, and the dark side of human desperation. The visual horror is immediate, but the meaning of the smile and the entity's actions is what truly terrifies. The ambiguity of his role compels the reader to confront uncomfortable questions about morality and justice, particularly in the context of child abuse, making horror more complex and throughout provoking a simple monster narrative. A lot of words. So that's very, very interesting of the fact that it's all these different things, and it's like, I believe, this is not 100% confirmed at all, but I think that this story might actually have been a somewhat, like, not, I wouldn't say inspiration, but like I would say like maybe a tiny inspiration at the minimum of Smile. Because Smile is such a good movie. It's such a creepy movie because they just smile. And it's because it's out of human nature for a smile to be that big, or just anything Uncanny Valley is horrific and it's very, very scary for whatever reason. Have it. I think that story is very interesting. I'm playing into demonic arts and stuff like that. The next one. The unsettling premise of lost episodes, hidden disturbing installments of beloved cartoons that networks supposedly suppressed, finds a chilling manifestation in Dead Bart, an alleged unaired episode of The Simpsons designated to irrevocably tarnish childhood memories. This is always interesting because I think the lost episode ones are just fun. Like, they're not good half the time, but they're fun. You know, the narrative claims that the existence of a hidden first season episode titled Dead Bart, characterized by distorted animation and unsettling character behavior. Homer is angrier, Marge is depressed, and Bart harbors genuine anger towards his parents. The plot unfolds, and with the Simpsons family embarking on a plane trip, during which Bart, while fooling around, breaks the window and is violently sucked out of the plane. The second act opens with an almost photorealistic, we know where this is going, don't we, buddies? Photorealistic depiction of Bart's corpse, a stark and grotesque contrast to the show's unusual animation style. Homer, Marge, and Lisa are then shown crying for an entire act, while their wails becoming progressively more pained and realistic. 1 year later, the family appears skeletally thin, visiting Bart's grave in a deserted and decrepit Springfield, where his corpse eerily lies in front of his tombstone. The most profoundly disturbing detail emerges in the final scene. Tombstones in the background bear the names of every Simpsons guest star with their actual death dates. For living guests, many are listed with the same future death date. The horror is a potential potent blend of violated innocence, graphic imagery, prolonged suffering, and a terrifying precognitive element that suggests that the episode itself is cursed and prophetic. Dead Bart exemplifies the lost episode creepypasta trope, which effectively subverts nostalgia and innocence by interjecting extreme gore and psychological distress into beloved childhood media. The prophetic element of the tombstones predicting real-world death dates, creating a terrifying blurring of fiction and reality, suggesting a cursed artifact capable of glimpsing or even influencing the future. The creepypasta weaponizes nostalgia, transforming a comforting childhood staple into something introduced deeply traumatic, the prophetic element elevates it beyond a simple shock value, introducing supernatural curses that extend into the viewer's reality, making the fictional feel disturbingly real and inescapable. That feels real. Also, I think the author might have just did that, the death with all that, because The Simpsons is known for predicting the future or getting it very, very close way before it happens. Everybody should know that, but if you didn't, yeah, The Simpsons is very, very well known to be predicting the future, which is always... It's very interesting in how they keep on doing it, and I want to know how one day. I wish I could be a fly on the wall, or just to sit in one of those writers' rooms during one of those episodes to be like, oh, well, we think, let's make this happen. 20 years later, it happens. I want to be there and see what goes down in a Simpsons writing room. And see what happens there. The next one. Oh, wait, you won't believe it. Another lost episode. Squidwards Suicide. This is a fun one. More photorealistic blood. Photorealism. I can't. I can't. The amount of photorealism I was going on around this time. Oh my gosh. Photorealistic, whatever it may be. It was very, very popular for too many years. It should have been like maybe a month. It was too popular for too many years. But anyways, let's get on to the next one. More lost episodes. A hidden SpongeBob SquarePants installment that plunges the innocent world of Bikini Bottom into a horrifying abyss of despair and gore. The story is narrated by a supposed Nickelodeon intern who describes viewing this disturbing episode. It begun with Squidward's clarinet concert, where the audience, including SpongeBob, boos him with unsettling, hyper-realistic eyes and palpable malice. Squidward then retreats to his room, sobbing in complete silence, his distress becoming eerily realistic, accompanied by the sound of wind and faint intermittent laughter. The screen then violently twitches, flashing single frames of brutally mangled and disemboweled dead children. Yeah. In the middle of a SpongeBob episode, it cuts to a Google slideshow of dead children. This is a SpongeBob episode. I don't know what the writer took before writing this. I don't know if it was shrooms, LSD. I don't know what he was on, or if he was on anything and he's just crazy. I want whatever that guy has to think, oh yeah, let's write this. During the SpongeBob episode, there's going to be dead children. Jesus. Y'all aren't ready for this next part. Squidward's eyes transform into hyper-realistic bleeding and pulsating orbs staring directly at the viewer. The climax arrives when a deep, disembodied voice commands, "Do it!" And Squidward places a shotgun in his mouth, firing it in a graphic description of photorealistic blood and brain matter splattering the wall. What is happening? I read the story like 3 times trying to understand what happened. I could not grasp it. It took me 4 reads. The final seconds reveal Squidward's lifeless, mutilated body. The horror is derived from the extreme violation of innocence, the jarring hyperrealism, disturbing auditory elements, and explicit gore, all juxtaposed within the context of a children's cartoon. It is designed to shock and Disjust. This is another classic creepypasta, anonymously authored, that implies the lost episode trope that creates a false sense of authenticity. The hyper-realistic eyes and blood are crucial elements, blurring the line between animation and reality, thereby intensifying the impact of the disturbing content. I guess, yeah, I mean, that's... If you're like 12 and you read Squidwards Suicide and you see all that, you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is so real, oh my god, no way. You know, I mean, I read this when I was like 13 and I was like, oh my god, this is real, no way. Like, bro, to younger audience, if you're stumbling upon this when you're like 12, 13 and you watch SpongeBob, like, kind of normally, if you're 12 or 13 still watching SpongeBob, what are you doing with your life? Upgrade, please. It's a good show, but please upgrade. Go watch Attack on Titan, or go watch One Piece, or go watch Your Lie in April. Some real animated stuff. Watch some real animated stuff. Go watch Food Wars. Don't. It's not worth it. Anyways. Whew. I don't know why I'm popping off on Squidwards Suicide. It was a joke post. The next couple are going to be pretty interesting and fun. This video is long enough. This video is definitely going to be over an hour long. But you know what? That's what we're here for. This video is definitely getting 0 views, but, you know, I don't know, maybe we could have some fun in the middle of the video, about like maybe like 40 minutes, 50 minutes in. Oh, all right. The unexplainable nature of how such content appeared on the file adds a supernatural layer to the narrative. Squidwards Suicide leverages the violation of innocence by juxtaposing a beloved children's cartoon with extremely graphic violence and psychological torment. The use of hyperrealism in the visuals and unnatural auditory disturbances creates an uncanny valley effect, making the fictional horror feel disturbingly tangible and breaking the comfortable distance between viewer and content. The horror is amplified by the discretion of a symbol of childhood innocence. The hyperrealism and disturbing audio are crucial because they bridge the gap between animated world and the viewer's reality, making the horror feel immediate and invasive, as if the cartoon is infected by something truly malevolent. End bit. Holy. I'm pretty sure there's more hyperrealism in here. I'm not going to keep it a buck. I'm pretty sure I have more hyperrealistic tangents that are going to go on. Moving to a little bit of the game area of Sonic.exe, also known as the runner-up in our first horror movie tournament. I'm gathering new characters, and for that new tournament, which is going to be coming really soon, I think it's going to be after this iceberg comes out. It should be the next thing on the list to go down and do after the iceberg is complete. So that is, if you really like those videos, that is something to look forward to, and making them better and more explanatory, giving more insight on each character. But anyways, let's get to the Sonic.exe. Sonic.exe presents a creepypasta that transforms the beloved speedy blue hedgehog in a demonic, blood-soaked nightmare, forever altering one's perception of Green Hill Zone. The story centers on Tom, an avid Sonic fan, probably autistic. It's okay. I don't know. I think they did a study on Sonic, and it would be like, autistic people like Sonic because the levels are predictable. And, like, they're pretty much the same, but they're a little bit different, but they are very, very predictable, and they have certain patterns. Anyways. Who receives a mysterious CD disc for the children that don't know. Yeah, we used to have discs that have to go into our computers to play games, and our Xboxes, and our everythings, instead of just downloading them. From his friend Kyle. Of course he gets a virus from Kyle. Accompanied by a frantic note urging him to destroy it because he's after me. Despite Kyle's desperate plea, Tom's curiosity prevails and he plays the game. What he discovers is a corrupt version of the classic Sonic game. The title screen briefly morphs to display a rusted emblem, Sega 666, blood red water, and Sonic with pitch black, bleeding eyes. Did I mention hyper-realistic blood? In an unnaturally stretched demonic grin, Tom proceeds to play as Tails, Knuckles, and Dr. Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman, with each character encountering gruesome, mutilated animals and demonic Sonic who relentlessly stalks and eventually kills them. The game breaks the fourth wall as characters frantically gesture to Tom to escape, and Sonic himself communicates directly with Tom through chilling text messages like, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" and "I am God." End quote. Please don't clip that. The horror is multifaceted, encompassing psychological torment, body horror through the depiction of mutilated animals, the presence of a malevolent supernatural entity, and terrifyingly breaking the fourth wall, where game itself appears to be sentient and targeting the player. Sonic.exe was originally penned by JC the Hyena and posted to Creepypasta Wiki in August of 2011, reportedly inspired by a photoshopped image of Sonic. Despite its immense popularity, particularly after the game based on a story was released and featured a PewDiePie playthrough, the original Creepypasta was controversially removed from the Creepypasta Wiki, deemed low quality and replete with too many cliches. JC the Hyena later remade the story, explicitly identifying Sonic.exe as an eldritch abomination. The removal of the original Sonic.exe from Creepypasta Wiki due to its perceived low quality, despite its immense popularity, amplified by game adaptations and YouTube exposure, reveals a tension within the Creepypasta community between viral reach and perceived literary merit. The situation highlights the dynamic nature of internet folklore, where a story's impact can be significantly amplified by multimedia adaptations, even if its original textual form is very deemed flawed and its purest. This suggests that the effectiveness of creepypastas is not solely dependent on the literary quality, but also on its capacity for adaptation and dissemination across various digital media. The community's internal critique manifested in the story's removal indicates that an attempt at quality control. However, the story's continued virality demonstrates that audience engagement and adaptation can override formal critical standards in the realm of internet folklore. All this to say, I sadly could not find a Wayback Machine to read the original Sonic.exe, which I really wanted to, because holy, I hope that was really bad, because I've read horrible written stories on creepypasta.com that are still there today. I don't know if they might have changed it since back in the day, like maybe it was like they've lowered their quality standards, but I have read some horrible writing, like absolutely horrible, written, looks like they're written by a third grader, and they're still on creepypasta.com. So maybe the standards have changed. Maybe they don't curate every single one they do. They just do the popular ones. And because I know Jeff the Killer went through this, Lavender went through this, Eyelessjack went through this, and then Sonic.exe went through this, and there's a couple others that I haven't covered yet. But it's Creepypasta, they shouldn't have very high literary standards. Speaking, most of their audience is from the age from 10 to 17. Like, not even, because r/nosleep is amazing stories, very, very high quality stories, but Creepypasta has their high quality stories too. Also, if you want to read funny horror stories, go to creepypasta.com and sit on the random page and get random stories, and you'll find really good ones, and you'll be questioning what you just read. Okay? But the next one of my favorites, as the Pokemon nerd I am, my love for Pokemon, I have played every single Pokemon game. Yeah, I'm pretty talented if I do say so myself. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing in my life, but I'm here, am I not? Nobody's probably seeing this part of the video, but if you are, thank you for listening to me ramble for over an hour about Creepypasta and hyperrealism. Okay, Lavender Town Syndrome. I remember reading this about 3 years ago. That would put me at 13, 14. And I was like, holy shit. I might be going insane. I started freaking out when I read the story, but reading it back, I'm like, I am just an idiot. Okay? The Lavender Town Syndrome, representing a chilling urban legend from the nascent days of Pokemon, asserting that a specific melody within the game drove children to madness and suicide. No cases have ever came out of this, and studies have shown, and I've looked into this myself. I'm really big into music, and it's massive that there have not discovered a specific tune, BPM, no amount of hertz, a certain amount of hertz per second, no certain melody or anything that can make somebody, especially children, go off themselves. There has been no research of that being even possible. But the legend posts that shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan in 1996, a discernible spike in suicides and illness occurred among children aged 7 to 12, specifically after they reached Lavender Town in the game. The alleged culprit was the Lavender Town theme music, which supposedly contained extremely high frequencies audible only to children's more sensitive ears. The lavender tone purportedly led to hundreds of suicides, often by hanging or jumping from heights, and numerous other children developing severe headaches and various afflictions. I read this and I was like, oh my god. I played an original Red game on a ROM, on an emulator. I just got to freaking Lavender Town. What am I doing? Bro. I need to get my life together. I need to finish this. I need to get my life together. This is already over an hour and a half, probably. Oh my god, this is gonna be a long video. Anyways. Anyways. The horror is rooted in children's developing severe headaches and various afflictions. The horror is rooted in psychological manipulation through sound, preying on the internet's inherent vulnerability of children. The unsettling idea that seemingly innocent video game could harbor a hidden malicious frequency is deeply disturbing. Later, a video further fueled the rumor, claiming that special software analyzing the audio's Lavender Town music revealed an unknown spelling, leave now, adding a layer of subliminal messaging and conspiracy to the narrative. Lavender Town Syndrome is a creepypasta published in 2011, anonymously authored in categories under urban legends and madness, paranoia, and mental illness. It expertly plays on the innocence associated with childhood entertainment, twisting it into something sinister, and exploits the pervasive fear of unseen forces influencing the mind. Lavender Town Syndrome effectively exploits the vulnerability of children and the insidious nature of psychological manipulation through sound. The addition of the unknown message, despite being anarchistic to the game's original release, highlights how creepypastas often retroactively integrate elements to deepen the horror, create a scene of hidden international malevolence. The story preys on the fear of unseen harm and the unknown detail, while factually inaccurate to the game's timeline, serves a crucial narrative purpose. It transforms an accidental environmental threat into a deliberate, sinister message, amplifying the horrors by suggesting malicious intent behind phenomenon that illustrates how creepypastas evolve to maximize fear. Yeah, the Lavender Town's kind of a rough read. I'm not gonna lie. No shade to the author. I enjoyed it. I read it and I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And then I was like, reread it and I was like, what is this? How did this get me when I was younger? How dumb was I? Very. I was 14. I was 14 with no plans in life. Like, I was making Minecraft videos at 14. Like, I don't know what else to say. But yeah, the next one, probably one, I think this is the first ever creepypasta, if I'm not wrong, just because of when it was posted. I'm pretty sure this is the first ever creepypasta, and we all know it, we all love it. The start of what we love here, creepypasta. The start of overall internet horror. The start of it all, Ted the Caver. Embracing claustrophobia and the unknown, Ted the Caver stands as a foundational creepypasta presented as the online diary of a recreational caver named Ted, whose exploration of a mystery cave devolves into a terrifying descent into the unexplainable. Ted and his friend B, later identified as Brad, discover a tight passage they dub as Floyd's Tomb and dedicate weeks to painstakingly excavating it. As they delve deeper, a series of strange phenomena unfold: an inexplicable howling wind, rumbling noises, their dog exhibiting extreme terror, and ultimately a terrifying human-like scream emanating from within the passage. Ted eventually manages to squeeze through, discovering a new section of the cave adorned with crystal formations and ancient hieroglyphs. However, photographs taken in this new chamber mysteriously fail to develop. His friend Matt, a different companion in some versions of the story, is profoundly traumatized after his own journey into the newly accessed section. The narrative culminates with Ted's final blog post stating their intention to bring a gun into the cave after experiencing escalating nightmares, hallucinations, and encounters with what they presume to be a supernatural entity. The blog has not been updated since its last entry. The horror is primarily psychological, building through increasingly unsettling entries, supernatural encounters, and chilling ambiguity of the ending. This inherent claustrophobia of tight cave passages significantly amplifies the pervasive dread. Ted the Caver was self-published as a series of blog posts on an Angel Fire website in 2001 by Ted Hedgeman, making it the earliest, if not the first, creepypasta. Its presentation as a found document or online diary was groundbreaking, providing readers with impressions of witnessing events unfold in real time, which fueled intense debates about its authenticity. Some users even claim to identify the mystery cave as a real location in Utah. Of course, Utah. One of the most random states in the U.S., Utah. On we go. Years later, Hedgeman revealed that while this story was indeed based on his real caving experience, had been heavily embellished with fictional elements, serving as a classic example of blurring fact and fiction with enhanced horror. The story is a foundational text establishing key tropes such as found document and the ambiguous endings. Its early success demonstrates the power of verisimilitude in digital horror. By presenting fiction as reality, it deeply engaged early internet users, illustrating how a simple blog format could become a powerful medium for fear. The real or fake debate itself became an integral part of horror experience. This one is probably one of, if not the single most important story to ever exist, especially in the creepypasta space, because this brought alive your found document, maybe your ARGs. It was technically the first ARG. If you think about it, because they did all these things, he responded to comments through the threads and stuff like that in character, like for example, Gregory88, and others like that. I'm not really big in the ARG space, but I know some people that are. The one two I know are this one and Gregory88. Diania House is also a really, really early one. I think that's 2002, I'm pretty sure, or 2001. I don't completely remember, but 2001, 2002. So those are the two I know foundational points. On to the next one, the Rake. He got first rounded in our tournament. As I said, I was questioning it. Something pale, hunched, and disturbingly human-like, yet utterly animalistic. This is the Rake, a creature of silent dread whose appearances have been chronicled in fragmented accounts spanning centuries. The Rake is described as a mysterious human-like entity, bald, pale skin with bright orb-like eyes and a drooping, fang-filled mouth. It typically moves on all fours but is capable of bipedal locomotion. It's either all fours or it's standing and walking like a human. I don't know why I make everything complicated on myself, but I do. I just do. I like big words. Half the time I can't say them. I write them because they sound cool. And they're like, oh, well, it means the same thing. I'm trying to get the point across, but I can't even say them half the time because when I'm writing, I'm locked in, have music on, and I just don't care. And then I'm recording these, and I'm like, oh, well, shit. I can't even pronounce the word. But anyways, its encounters are often characterized by silence. It simplifies, sits, and stares at victims from the foot of their beds or within their rooms. The horrors it instills is psychological, manifesting as extreme fright, paranoia, and an inability to sleep. While it does not always attack, its mere presence is sufficient to shatter sanity. However, when it does act, the consequences are devastating, as exemplified by a 2006 account where Its visits leads to the death of a husband and severe injury of a daughter. The absence of a clear origin or discernible motion for the rake amplifies the fear of the unknown, portraying it as an unpredictable, purely malevolent force. The rake originated in a 2005 4chan board thread where anonymous users collaboratively devised a new monster. The first story featuring the creature was published on Brian Somerville's blog in 2006, solidifying its characteristics and suggesting sightings dating back to the 12th century. It's rapidly disseminated across LiveJournal, Something Awful, and Reddit. Despite common misconceptions, its ironic image is not deprived from the Bruwick monster photograph. The lore predicates it. However, it does draw influences from creatures such as the Flukeman from the X-Files. Oh, from the X-Files, yeah. Google Docs, I hate you. Sometimes. Actually love Google Docs. That's where I do all my scripts. Why do you have to have page breaks? Just have one long page. The collaborative anonymous origin of the rake on 4chan demonstrates the power of an emergent collective storytelling in the digital age. Its horrors relies heavily on silent stalking and presence, the psychological dormant, illustrating how fear of the unknown and violation of personal space can be more effective than explicit violence, are a hallmark of subtle, pervasive horror. The highlights of wisdom of a crowd in horror creation, a monster designed by many tap in border from primal fears, the emphasis of psychological dread, overt violence, and sophisticated horror technique, proving that what is implied and unknown can be far terrifying than what is explicitly shown, making the entity feel more ancient and incomprehensible. This is part 1, by the way. This took me a week to get ready. This is part 1. I'm pretty sure this is the one with the least. This whole video, if you watch it all the way through, you're going to see my slow descent into madness. Because I'm doing this in all one setting. So you're seeing a slow descent of madness into somebody that has nothing better to do. If this video pops off, I swear to God, if this video gets over 1,000 views, I'm dyeing my hair red like Markiplier. I will do the Markiplier red if this video gets 1,500 views and 10 likes. I will do it. I will do it. Yes, I will have coaches mad at me, but I don't care. A promise is a promise. I will do Markiplier red. And they're going to have to deal with it. 1,500 views, 10 likes, and 3 people commenting the word. If 3 people comment the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious in the comments, I will record any video anybody can think of, and I'll do it. I don't care how weird it is. I will make that video. That's a deal. All right. The fun part. Polybius! Another fun one. And this is a quick one too. and a bunch of words I can't say because it's in the wrong language. Yay! Anyways, enter the arcade game rumored to induce madness. I'm already in madness. I didn't even get to this part yet, so you know what? More madness comes to me like money. I'm going insane. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Nothing. I'm doing nothing with my life. I've been here for over an hour and a half, talking to a camera, going slowly insane. All right, let's go. Polybius is an urban legend centered around the mysterious arcade cabinet that is purportedly materialized in Portland, Oregon in 1981, only to vanish without a trace. The game allegedly developed by a company named Sinschlossen, German for since deletion, rapidly became addictive, drawing long queues for players. However, players reportedly severe negative side effects, amnesia, insomnia, nightmares, night terrors, nausea, headaches, and in some versions of the legend, even suicide. A lot of these stories have that in common. Oh my god, some sound or something. Oh my god, it caused why people do off themselves. Oh no! That's all a joke. Suicide is very, very serious. If you're thinking about it, get help, please. Please get help. I know I make fun of it, but please get help. It's not funny. It's funny because the only reason it's funny is in the creepypasta space because they mention it way too much and it is so overused for such a serious topic. But anyway, they claim to hear a woman crying, to see grotesque faces in their peripheral vision while playing. The horror of profoundly psychological, rooted in the concept of psychoactive machine or a government experiment employing subliminal messages to manipulate and destroy minds. It embodied the fear of insidious control of technology turning against the users and the complete deterioration of mental and physical health stemming from the seemingly innocuous source. Polybius is a classic urban legend emerging around rare arcade game from 1981. The legend suggests it's a government experiment with men in black suits reportedly visiting the machines to collect unknown data rather than typical marketing information. The company named Sinschlossen itself reinforces the theory of its mind-altering purpose. The only screenshot displaying the word Slenderman, adding the chilling pseudo-evidence layer of the myth. Polybius is a prime example of technological order combined with conspiracy theory, tapping into anxieties about the government control. Yay, government control! Transforming a simple arcade into a terrifying instrument of mind control and destruction. This sounds familiar. Only like the CIA tried to do this in the 80s. No way! The story is effective because it's a familiar nostalgic object, the little arcade game, and embeds it with sinister controlling power. The conspiracy elements make it feel like a hidden truth, while specific symptoms such as amnesia and nightmares suggest a violation of the mind itself. The company name serves as a chilling, direct detail that confirms malicious intent, reinforcing the idea of deliberate, terrifying experiment on the public. Oh my god, the government experimenting on the public? They would never do that, would they? Oh my god, almost like they did that all the way through the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. They're probably doing it now. Little do we know. Gosh. Little do we know, they're watching us and they're making us go insane. But the next one, I really had fun researching this because I knew it existed, but I never really watched a video on it. And I just thought it was really, really fun to watch through and watch a couple of videos on it because I never got to experience this as a kid. This is the one thing I never really got to experience. Because I had no friends and no life when I was younger, and I filmed this self by myself. I happened to be on the wrong side of YouTube when I was about 12 years old. But, you know, we all find ourselves there. If you're watching this, you know where I was at the age of 12, looking up creepypastas and horrific things I probably shouldn't have. Like, let's see, a bunch of true crime cases that I probably should have not been hearing as a 12-year-old me. Like, let's see, John Wayne Gacy, every single Predator case on Netflix you can think of. I knew all of it and probably watched all of them by the age of 14. From 12 to 14 was my span of, I like true crime and creepypasta. I think it's cool. And so now I'm looking back and I'm like, holy, I probably should not have had unrestricted internet access to whatever I want at the age of 12. This is why I am now. This is why we've been here for over an hour and a half just recording funny video. Yay. All right, back. Username 666. The unsettling feeling of encountering a YouTube video that seems fundamentally wrong as it should not exist if magnified in username 666, which transforms a simple online interaction into a full-blown technological nightmare. There's one computer becomes a digital gateway to hell. Yay! Funny demon stuff. Funny demon time. Ugh. Oh yeah, I'm ready to get into the demonic cult video. Please. I'm spiraling down into madness at the end of this iceberg. This is gonna be fun to edit. And if any of my friends have watched this for one, thank you. Two, what are you doing with your life? You have better things to do than watch me for probably 2 hours of your time. What are you doing? Get a life, bro. Anybody that I don't know personally, thank you so much for watching. You are amazing, and I love you so very much. The narrative describes the experience of a YouTube user who repeatedly refreshes the page for the supposedly suspended www.youtube.com/666. I'm pretty sure they have Naruto edits on YouTube right now with that username. I am 99% sure that this kid with the username 666 is making Naruto edits. Bro. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life if you choose to make freaking Naruto edits? Username 666. Never mind. These are all the creepy YouTube videos. I was wrong. You know what? I was wrong. I'm fine with that. It's all over a year ago. This was all over a year ago, which I think is very, very interesting. Like, a year ago? That's amazing, dude. Like, so they reposted all of it. Okay. Never mind. I thought the 666 YouTube channel was a Naruto thing. Maybe it got bought out and I'm just like tripping. I'm probably thinking something else. But anyways, this is a very, very, very cool YouTube channel. But with each refresh, it begins to glitch. Text changes, 666, a bunch of red stuff appears for babies twisting their hair, a woman drowning in a pool of blood, horror escalates as it becomes unpausable and the browser freezes and the computer refuses to shut down. The woman in the video stares at the protagonist, accompanied by random sounds and beatings. The climax occurs when the woman's hands pops out of the video and crashes the browser. The horror is pure technological dread. Breaking the fourth wall. This video is created by Nana825763, also known as SM666, on Nico Dauga, which depicted these exact events. Nana is described as a normal person and artist who enjoys combining horror and cuteness. You do you, buddy. But it's amazing. Like, the art for the time. This came out in 2008. The art for this time and how it was used, I was surprised. I thought it came out originally before I knew the date. I thought it came out around mid 2010s, like 2012, 2015 era. No, that's 2008. For the editing and the art style and the art and everything, outside of the old school YouTube browser, if you ignore how old the YouTube browser does look and you just look at the art, I completely believe it's ahead of its time. It's astounding. It's amazing looking. But the next one. The next one. One of my favorite stories I've ever read. It's in the top 10 at least. If I had to rank it right now, in my top 10 favorite creepypasta r/nosleep, just horror stories in general, I would have to put it around 7. This is probably my 7th favorite story I've ever read. I will place the other ones when I get to them. But as of right now, this is number 7. And yeah, the stairs in the woods. Imagine you're in the woods, trotting along as a little kid or for your job. Say you work at a park service. Let's say you're a park ranger. You're just wandering through the woods by yourself, nonsensically. Hey, I'm going to go to a stroll. And it might be my lunch. I'm not hungry. I already ate. You know what? Let's just go do a stroll through the woods. Let's see what's happening. Let's see if there's any random bodies or anything in the woods. And you just see, boom, staircase. The legend, typically, staircase. I wonder what happens if I were to walk up this staircase. Boom, 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 boom. Ah! I'm dead. Am I in heaven? No, you're in hell. I'm going insane running this shit, bro. Ah! Okay, the legend typically involves hikers or explorers discovering these enigmatic stars. Constructed of stone, appearing pristine and well-maintained despite their remote location and the complete absence of any accompanying structure. They are utterly out of context, creating a surreal and distorting visual. The core horror lies in the unexplained mystery. No one knows how or why they are there. Theories range from remnants of long rotted structures to gateways to another world or even hell. One r/nosleep story details a group of high school friends who encountered such staircase while 5 friends entered the forest. Only 4 returned, with the vanishing staircase becoming a lingering mystery that haunts them for decades. The inherent wrongness of a man-made structure existing in the wild, untamed natural environments created a profound sense of unease and violated reality. Stairs in the Woods is a popular urban legend and creepypasta widely curated on the internet, particularly on the Reddits r/nosleep. The concept has been expanded into a full novel by Chuck Wendig, demonstrating the longevity and adaptability of inherent folklore across different media. The story taps into primal fears of the unknown, isolation, and the uncanny, where familiar objects appear in deeply unsettling contexts. The stairs in the woods concept leveraging the uncanny valley, objects of man-made structures existing in unnatural context. This inherent wrongness taps into primal fears of the unknown and violation of natural order. Its evolution from a simple urban legend to a full-fledged novel demonstrates the adaptability and enduring appeal of internet folklore, illustrating how a compelling concept that transcends and its original medium. The horror is derived of the violation of expected reality. Stairs must lead somewhere. The destruction creates powerful sense of the uncanny. The adaptation into a novel proves that a strong, unsettling concept, even if simple, can be expanded and reinterpreted, highlighting the enduring power of foundational horror ideas in digital folklore. We're almost there. We're almost there. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. If anybody is still here, friend, I have no idea who you are as a person. You're probably a great person. Thank you so much for watching my descent into my absolute madness and my spiral down to insanity while just reading descriptions of fun creepypastas I thought that were good, and I used the iceberg. This is level 1. This insanity just started. My spiral into true insanity hasn't started yet. Give it until layer 3, and it's going to be insanity all the way throughout. Okay. Let's go into numeral whatever. You ready? I'm ready to get this over with. I'm almost done. I can almost go edit and eat food. Alright, Smile Dog. The chilling creepypasta known as Smile Dog revolves around a supposedly cursed image, smile.jpg, which promises to plague the viewer's mind with horrific visions unless they spread the word. You definitely have gotten a text of this. Oh, spread the word. Send to 20 different people. Creepy message. Send to 20 different people, or this will haunt you for life, or whatever. And you can't be sent back to the person that sent to you, or some. Everybody's been sent something stupid like that. I never resent that thing, and I haven't been cursed yet. But hey, you know what? Maybe it's waiting on the back end for me. You never know. You never know. I might get nipped in the ass by fucking Smile Dog sometime down the road while I'm walking down the road. Why is that dog weirdly smiling at me with human features? Oh no! I'm dead! I'm going insane. I'm spiraling down to insanity. I am... Why? Why do I choose to do this to myself? For content! Content! I totally don't do this to torture myself. I do this for the people! Anyways, viewing the image, which depicts a Siberian husky-like creature with a wide, exaggerated grin, reveals a disturbingly human-like teeth. It is said to introduce sudden temporal lobe epilepsy. Epilepsy. What? Epilepsy? Fun. Epilepsy, acute anxiety, and endless vivid nightmares. In these dreams, Smile Dog itself torments the victim, relentlessly demanding they spread the word. By sharing the image, resistance to this demands intensifies and haunting potential leading into insanity, death, or even being dragged to hell. The narrative flows as an individual investigating the legend encounters a victim such as Mary E., who was haunted for 15 years before succumbing to, you guessed it, offing themselves. Why does it always lead here? Why? Always. Is this or photorealistic or both? It's usually both, but why? The horror is a potent blend of psychological torment and inescapable curse, and the uncanny valley effect generated by the disturbing human-like smile on the dog. It functions as a digital chain letter from hell. The origin of the image and its creator remain unknown, a deliberate narrative choice that enhances its forgiveness by suggesting a supernatural rather than a simple Photoshop origin. The creepypasta story itself is believed to have first appeared on 4chan's X board in 2008. Realizing a lot of these creepypastas are made around the time I was born. Oh my gosh. You know what that means. I'm the cursed year. Oh no. I don't even know what I'm on at this point. Subsequently gaining its own page on Creepypasta Wiki in 2010, it draws upon older tropes like chain letters and cursed artifacts, adapting them for the digital age. Smile Dog masterfully combines psychological torment with chain letter trope, creating an inescapable curse that complements victims to perpetrate the horror, the ambiguity of its origin, and the uncanny valley effect of the dog human-like smile are crucial elements. So make the entity feel both alien and disturbingly familiar, amplifying the sense of dread and moral dilemma, presenting to the viewer. This is a story effective because it creates an active participatory horror experience, forcing the reader to consider the moral cost of their own safety. The uncanny smile serves as a visual trigger that makes the horror deeply unsettling, while unknown origins mysterious and powerful suggests a pervasive, unobtainable digital curse. Uncontainable. Unobtainable, because you can obtain it. And hey, by the way, if you ever scroll past one of those and you're like, oh, I need to send this to my friends. 1, don't be an idiot. 2, why would you curse your friends too? What type of friend are you? Like, let's be real here. I said send to 20 people. I'm gonna send it to my best friend. Bro, if one of my best friends sends that to me, I'm literally gonna say, why would you do this to me, bro? Well, I had to send it to 20 people. You could have sent it to 20 other random people, but you decided to send it to me. Are you trying to get me cursed? Like, bro, believe it or not, if you believe in it, you're obviously sending it. You think you're going to get cursed. Why would something you believe in, you think you're going to get cursed? Why would you send it to me? What did I do to you? You send it to 20 of your worst enemies or 20 people you don't like, and like, have a fun day with it. They'll be like, oh, I don't believe in this. And all they know, the next day, they're on the news being like, 20 random people received one single text message from the same person, and it said, if you don't share this video, you will be dead in 24 hours. All 20 people of them are dead. So yeah, if somebody sends you this photo, or if you're looking at this photo right now, good luck. Like, bro, what did I do to deserve this? Alright, everybody's favorite Legend of Zelda, Ben drowned! Yeah, I drowned Ben, oh my god! Majora's Mask, my favorite, and the only Legend of Zelda game I've ever played. Irrevocably altered, Ben Drowned stands as a groundbreaking creepypasta that blurs the lines between reality and a haunted video game involving an elaborate alternative reality game, or an ARG. The story follows a college student, deducible Alex Hall, who acquires a used Nintendo 64 copy of Majora's Mask with a save file named Ben. Deleting this file only exacerbates the unsettling occurrences. Non-player characters, NPCs, begin to referring him as Ben. The game glitches into a distorted fourth day where all inhabitants have vanished, and a reverse song of healing, plays on a constant loop, inducing a profound sense of depression. The terrifying, edgy elegy of emptiness. A salute of Link repeatedly appears behind him, seemingly stalking him, and game shatters the fourth wall. With Link's avatar staring directly at Jedusable through the screen. The game forces Link to impossible fiery deaths, displaying a chilling message: "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" Jedusable later learns that the boy named Ben drowned in a neighborhood years prior. Ben then begins to communicate through Cleverbot, of all things, claiming to be inside Jedusable's computer, manipulating his online posts and tormenting him with vivid dreams. The horror is deeply psychological, intriguing, found footage, and ARG elements. Reality distortion and the description of a beloved childhood game, Ben Drowned is attributed with Jedusable and has been widely praised for its multimodal storytelling, episodic unfolding, and audience interaction, with significantly elevated the creepypasta genre. It's originated as a desperate pleas for help, presenting as truth, a pioneering approach that made it uniquely unsettling, groundbreaking for the genre. Ben Drowned is a seminal creepypasta that pioneered the ARG format, blurring the lines between fiction and reality by presenting the narrative as a real-time unfolding crisis. It used a beloved game, Majora's Mask, as the haunted object, amplifies the horror through validation of innocence and the subversion of familiar comfort, creating a deeply immersive and psychologically disturbing experience for the audience. This story genius lies it is ARG format, which actively involves the audience in unfolding horror, making them feel participants rather than passive readers. By corrupting a beloved game, it demonstrates how digital storytelling can create pervasive, multi-layered fear that extends beyond the screen. I thought Ben Drowned was such a good story until it got to the Cleverbot part, and the Cleverbot part just took me out. I was so sucked in, and it was like, Cleverbot, back to photorealism. You won't believe what we're doing next. Suicide mouse.avi school. Another infamous lost episode creepypasta. You can already tell from the first two. We know where this is going. Lost episode creepypasta Suicide mouse.avi plunges into the dark and disturbing underbelly of classic Disney, purporting to reveal a hidden, unreleased Mickey Mouse cartoon that drove its viewers into madness and, you guessed it, unaliving. The story claims the discovery of a 1930s Mickey Mouse cartoon, Suicide mouse.avi, initially appears innocuous, despite Mickey walking into a continuous loop, but the audio consists of consistent diminal piano banging transitioning into unsettling white noise. Mickey's expression is perpetually dismal, his head tilting to the side. The true horror when a film critic, Leonard Maltin, discovers the file was actually 9 minutes long. After the initial audio fades to black, Mickey reappears, still walking into the sound transforms into a gurgle, indistinguishable murmur that escalates into a blood-curdling scream. Concurrently, the visuals distort into impossible colors. Mickey's face grotesquely deforms, his eyes rolling into his chin like marbles, and smile unnaturally skewed, and familiar buildings dissolve into floating rubble. The climax occurs when the distorted screaming abruptly cuts to the familiar Mickey Mouse credits face, accompanied by the sound of a broken music box. The final 30 seconds of the cartoon remain unknown as the employee who viewed it stumbles out of the room, repeating, "Real suffering is not known," 7 times before seizing a security guard's pistol and committing, "You guessed it, unaliving!" You would never guess what happens next. Oh my god. On the spot for the last 7 seconds. Oh my god. I wonder what he saw. Leonard Martel later reveals that the very last frame contained Russian text roughly translating to, "The sights of hell brings its viewers back in." The horror is psychological and auditory, relying on the concept of cursed media violating the innocence of beloved characters again and leading into real world within the story's narrative consequences. Suicide mouse.avi is an anonymously authored creepypasta published in 2010. I'm surprised this didn't have any photorealism in it. I was shocked. I was beyond believed. There's not photorealism in this? Oh my god. No way, dude. That's nuts. No photorealism in a 2010 story on a lost episode? This is unheard of. Which employs the found footage, lost media trope, as we've been over through. Realism. Yeah, it's really just symbolization. It goes over the same things a lot of Dead Bart and Squidwards Suicide did. It just goes over really a lot of those tropes, and now it's time for the last one. This is one of them I'm really going to put a picture up for because this is massive. Because this is a really, really big one. It's Play With Me, or Sally. I think a lot of people know the doll. They don't know the actual story. Or that's just what I've gotten input from friends and stuff. I let friends know what I'm doing beforehand. They don't see any of the video or anything, but they do see I tell them, like, I bounce off the ideas of them and see what would work, what wouldn't, what I should take out, what I should put in certain spots, especially on the iceberg. Because I'm using a base iceberg and I'm adding and taking and moving some things around, which I feel like should be up one, should be down one, or so on. But the last one is Play With Me. From the innocence of childhood to chilling reality of a vengeful ghost, Play With Me, or Sally's story, presents a brutal tale of abuse, tragedy, and a spirit who perpetually seeks to play. There exist multiple versions of Sally's story. A common characteristic of creepypastas, the most widely known, involves a sweet 8-year-old girl named Sally, whose life takes a dark turn when the arrival of her uncle Johnny, who abuses her in some iterations, rapes and kills her after she ratted him out. Why do such unserious stories have to do so serious themes? Why? As a ghost, Sally is cursed to remain in the house where she died, appearing to the residents and asking, "Play with me." She possesses the ability to appear and vanish, occasionally using toys as weapons. The horror is derived from the violation of innocence, child victimization, and the lingering presence of a vengeful spirit. The graphic violence and tragic backstory render her a deeply sympathetic yet terrifying figure. Another version, Come Play With Me, Sally's story, features a protagonist also named Sally, who discovers a cursed stuffed cat. This malevolent toy proceeds to shred her other dolls, brutally murdered her dog, Roxy, and then her parents, leaving bloody messages such as, "You should have played with me." The version focuses on a malevolent toy escalating gore and psychological torment, leading to Sally's institutionalization. The Sally Play With Me story, created by Shiloh Rose, also known as La Mishi Mish on DeviantArt. Of course, what else do I expect from a DeviantArt era creepypasta? I'm not shitting on DeviantArt era creepypasta. It's either amazing or really funny. The existence of multiple distinct Sally stories highlighted the fluid, desensitized nature of creepypasta lore, where a character concept can be reinterpreted and expanded upon by different authors. The consistent theme of child abuse and vengeful spirits across these versions suggests the shattered thematic concern within the community, exploring the dark consequences of trauma. The existence of multiple, sometimes contradictory Sally stories is a key observation regarding the decentralized and fluid nature of creepypasta lore. We're almost there. This highlights how character concepts can evolve and be reinterpreted across different narratives, demonstrating the community's collective, uncurated storytelling process. The consistent theme of child abuse and vengeful spirits across these versions point at shared social anxiety by explored throughout horror. This shows creepypasta lore is non-monolithic. Popular character concepts can be reimagined, retold, leading to a sprawling, non-canonical universe. The persistence of themes like child abuse and supernatural distribution across these versions indicate there are deeply resonant fears within the community, making horror feel emotionally charged and socially relevant. That is it. We're done. Thank you so much for watching this almost 2-hour video. If you made it here, I love you, and I will. If you made it here and you comment Sally. Actually, if you comment "come play with me" in the comments, I will do the rest of the creepypasta iceberg next Monday, or this upcoming Monday, and finish it. It only takes one. Come play with me in the comments. So thank you so much for watching this horrible long video and watching somebody slowly spiral into insanity. If you like the very, very long videos, let me know in the comments down below, because I love doing these very long deep dives into videos instead of doing the 20-minute, maybe 30-minute videos of basic overviews. I really like getting into everything. These are basic overviews. It's just a lot of them, and I think a lot of these, it's also, this research is making me sit down and reread stories that I either haven't read before or rereading I haven't read in a while, and laughing and saying, oh, well, this is actually a really good story, or making me sit down and reread a masterpiece that I didn't realize was that good because I read it when I was younger. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.